Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Miller. Every week, I chat with fascinating people from all walks of life in order to bring you knowledge, inspiration, and insight. If you enjoy the show, you can support it by subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with a friend. This is the Jeremy Miller Podcast. Nick, welcome to the podcast, dude.
Jeremy, thank you.
Should we start this with a raw milk cheers?
Yes, sir.
First time for you trying raw milk.
My first time.
I feel like I've seen you eat some crazy things.
Oh, it's delicious.
It tastes just like regular milk, right?
Yeah. Oh, well. Some nice ASMR to start off.
Yeah. Dude, we just met on Wednesday,
yes.
3 days ago. And we already went on a couple runs together. But I want to start this by saying, when I met you on Wednesday, you had just, the previous weekend on like Saturday or Sunday, you just ran 100K. And you're already back running Wednesday. And you're asking me to run like milk miles and stuff. And I'm like, who is this guy? Because I just ran 100K 2 weeks ago. And I felt like I was still recovering. And you're out here like 3 days later. And you're already like wanting to just get after it again.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not in Austin for too long. So I just wanted to take the opportunity. After my 100K, I took like 2 days to relax. I was in some hot tubs, trying to get some spas and just like foam rolling a bunch. Because I knew when I was in Austin, I was like, I want to do everything possible and capture some wacky content and just meet everybody. So yeah, I don't care how much my body hurts. I'm trying to get some fun videos.
How long have you had this Austin trip planned for?
Oh, it was so last minute. I booked it 2 weeks before I came.
Dang.
It was, I knew I was going to Nevada for a while. I was supposed to train with one of my athletes doing the Hoover Dam Marathon. Something got in the way. She had to cancel. And I was like, okay, I'm still going to go to Nevada. I have this whole trip planned out. My girlfriend and I, we went to the Valley of Fire. We did like 35 miles, just like some epic trail running, like super, super steep, basically rock climbing, scrambling.
Was this a race or like you just went and did it?
No, just went and did it, just having fun, like camping, running, chilling, cooking in the middle of the street.
Oh, that's cool. And
then, there were a couple of times where I was really scared. I was like, did I just kill my girlfriend? Like, because she's on the wall, like gripping. And I was like, oh shit.
Is she as crazy as you with all this stuff?
I'm definitely getting her into it.
Well, you guys did 35 miles, you said?
I did 35. She joined for the second half. She was a trooper. It was like right when the sun set, she's like, okay, I'm going to stick with you and make sure everything's all right.
Yeah.
And
cool.
So yeah, we did that. Valley of Fire, so epic. Trail running, rock climbing.
Is that like a state park or what is that? Okay.
Yeah, state park in Nevada, my favorite one. I would definitely highly recommend. It looks like Mars. Like you're out there, it looks like Mars. Some raw milk.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't been to only place in Nevada I've been to Reno and then Vegas, but never to. Is that close to either one of those cities or where'd you fly into?
It's like 45 minutes to Vegas. Yeah, so I'm from Canada and I just keep coming to the States flying into Vegas because it's so cheap. It's like $300 round trip. And I rent a car and I just go out to like the bordering states and it's so awesome. But the Valley of Fire is 45 minutes from Vegas and it's a whole other world. It's so beautiful.
Dang, I got to get out there and check it out.
Yeah.
So were you on like a trail or it sounds like you're kind of just making up your own thing or?
Yeah, I was kind of doing off trail. The Nevada trail marking system is pretty bad. Like
I don't know any trail runners in Vegas.
There were so many times where I was like, where did the trail go? So yeah, it wasn't official. I was just doing my own thing. The official challenge that I set for myself, because it was my birthday, every year on my birthday, I do something where I try to break my body, was 25 summits of these like massive rock mountains. So I did 25 summits, slept like 3 or 4 hours, and then went to the Hoover Dam Marathon.
Oh my God.
And the Hoover Dam Marathon was such an awesome experience. So beautiful. And ended up running 4 hours and 13 minutes for my first ever official marathon.
Dude, how old did you turn the day before?
25.
25. So you did 35 miles on your own and then went and ran the marathon?
Yep.
And I feel like that's kind of just another training day for you, really.
Basically, I wasn't, like the first 35 miles took me 13 hours. So like, it's not fast. It was just time on feet. And that's really the whole picture of my training program recently. It's just, in a nutshell, it's just tons of time on feet.
Right. Because you've got the speed project coming up, right?
Yes, sir. Speed project solo.
Dude, the solo aspect is key. For people that don't know what the speed project is, you want to explain it?
Yep. So the speed project is no rules, no route, no spectators. We start at the Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles, and you find your own way to the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. And you basically have to go through Death Valley. You have to go through the Mojave Desert and all these like really, really sketchy areas. It's 350 miles if you take like the OG route, following all the street signs and stuff. But a lot of people cut through the desert. And last year I did it in a team. We split the distance up between 6 people. This year I'm doing it solo.
Dude, I didn't know you did it last year too.
Yeah. That's how I like got into like the whole scene. Like I did it with my run club, and that's how I like met the organizers, and that's how I got invited to come do it this year, because it's an invite only race.
Oh, I didn't know that. So how'd you get invited to do it this year? Because you were there last year?
Yeah, they just sent it in the WhatsApp group chat.
Okay.
And they were like, anyone who's interested, last minute openings. And I applied as a joke. And like the form to apply is so silly. It's like, what's your biggest achievement? What's your biggest dream? Like they're not asking serious questions. There's maybe like 1 or 2 questions, be like, what was the biggest adventure you've been on? But they're not asking for marathon times or like if you're qualified or not. It's all these like really funny questions. And then I got in and I was like, what? No way I got in. Because usually it's like 6 or 7 people who get in and do it. And this year, it's a huge field. They let in 25 people.
25 people doing it solo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Is that the biggest field ever?
Biggest field ever. I think they've been doing it for... The speed project itself has been 11 years. And solo, I might be wrong, but I think it's like 5 or 6 years.
Jeez. What's a good time to finish that thing in as a solo runner?
Yeah. Under a week is kind of like the average.
That's so long. Under a week.
I think
that's crazy.
Robbie Lawler did it in like 4 days. There was one girl, I think her name's Lucy. She destroyed the record. I think it was like just under 4 days.
Jeez.
You need to fact check me on all this because I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, there are some psychos out there just not getting any sleep, just blasting through it.
What's the longest you've done before this one?
Not even half. Maybe like 200 kilometers, but not even like one shot. Like I've done a lot of 100-mile races. And then, kept running that same day just to like cool down or warm up, or, the car is 2 kilometers away. I'm not going to walk 2 kilometers. I'm going to run it. And,
killing me.
But yeah, this is definitely
You're
a
saying
massive...
it like it's so logical. Like, of course I'm not going to walk 2K. I got to run it. I just ran 100 miles. Why not tack on a couple more?
Yeah. I mean, your body feels better after a 100-miler than it does after a fast marathon. Like I'm still walking. I'm not like you see marathoners like they can't get up the stairs.
Yeah. That's even in the ultras I've done. I experienced that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I've only done a couple 50s in the 100K. The 100K I didn't feel too wrecked. But the marathons just leave you so destroyed because the effort's so much higher, like all that lactic acid in your muscles. And 100 mile, you don't really get that. What hundreds have you done? How many first off, how many hundreds have you done? And then let's go through them.
I've done a ton of just like in my training plan.
You'll program 100 miles as a training run?
Well, yeah, but just like, it's not 100 miles unbroken. Like I'm taking breaks, I'm eating, I'm napping, I'm just like doing my thing and just trying to implement it into my day-to-day life. Like I was telling you, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm not allowed to take a bike. I'm not allowed to take a car, no Ubers. I'm just running everywhere. And if I got to go to work, if I got to go to a friend's place, if I got to go to the store, I just run. So I have a big running bag, and that's how I just collect all my miles. And the 100 milers I did, like officially, have both been at the Sulphur Springs, which is a race in Ontario, Canada. It's a super fast race. It's not too hilly, and it's 8 loops of 20K.
Okay. How many kilometers is a 100 miler?
160.
Okay, 8 times 20. Okay. Damn. How old were you when you did your first one?
23. Yeah.
That's young to do 100 miles.
Yeah. So it was actually a coincidence. I was supposed to do an 80K that weekend. It got canceled because of a crazy windstorm. And I was like, well, I'm peak training. I'm so fit. I need to find some type of race. And I found this 100 miler and I was like, well, let's go for it. And then the first time, it was such a crazy story. That morning, when I'm about to do my first ever 100 miler, someone breaks in my car and they steal all my gear.
Oh no.
So I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? I'm so mad. Like there's so much nice gear in there and now I can't go do my race. So I go and I do the fastest 10K I've ever done to like let my mind loose. This is after I file a police report about my car and all my like things that I lost. So about like 3 hours later, I'm sitting there like so what do I do? Like I still had some of my nutrition, just a bunch of sacks of mashed potatoes. And I was like, should I just try to go and just like run around the block 100 times? And I was like, fuck it. If I'm going to run, I'm going to go to the race and just do what I can. So I ended up going to the race 5 hours late, walking around to other runners, other people in their tents. And I'm like, hey, can I borrow a running vest? Can I borrow some running bottles? Can I borrow a headlamp? And I ended up pooling all this stuff together. The race organizers were so sweet, helping me out so much. And I ended up finishing the race like before the cutoff time, and I did pretty well too.
Oh my gosh. What a crazy first 100 miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
As if 100 miles wasn't hard enough. You got to, well, you said it was 2 days before is when you basically signed up for it?
Yep.
Were you in like 100-mile shape at that point? Because you're only training for...
I was training for an 80K. And
that's what, 50 miles?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'll do my first one. Like I felt ready. Like I wasn't intimidated by the distance too much. Like just the perfect amount that I respect it. I'm not going to blast out at my fastest 5K the first couple miles. And I didn't care if I didn't finish.
Dang. And you said you finished with a respectable time. How fast was that?
23:45, something right under sub 24 hours.
Did that include the like 5 hours of you showing up late? Okay.
No, that's my race time.
Okay. Damn. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. If you look at my laps on the race website, so the laps of 20K, it's like my first one took me like 7.5 hours.
So you actually ran in like 18 hours or something?
No. The 23, it was like just under 30 for like my official time.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But then me running like on my watch,
okay,
it says 23:45.
Okay, that makes sense. Dang.
18 hours would be nuts. 18 hours I would get first place.
That's quick for 100 miles, yeah. I mean, was that a mountainous one?
Not really.
Okay.
Ontario is pretty flat. There are 3 climbs that you have to do, and the climbs, they're not bad.
Yeah. Have you done any mountainous ultras?
Yeah, I have. Which ones have I done? I'm drawing a blank right now. TSP is pretty mountainous. Oh my God, yeah. My first ever 50 miler Quebec Mega Trail. This is nuts. So you're on like these giant ski mountains, and it's a really, really tough mountains. Like I don't know how to describe it to you, but there's a section that it's just so tedious. Like if you were to do the direct path, it would take you 3 miles, but they send you up and down a super steep portion of it, and then you have to go on a raft and cross the river, and it's called the Mesta Shibo, and it's like a gruesome part of the race. And then I also did Bromont Ultra, which are all these like Quebec Ultras. They're all so aggressive. Bromont Ultra has like the claim to fame of being the hardest race in the entire East Coast. Did another 50 miler there, and that was tough because it's at the end of the season in October. It's like muddy, wet, cold. It was snowing the year I did it at the top of the mountain, and those were just fun. Like 80Ks are just kind of. I don't mean to downplay it, but you know, they're pretty approachable, right. And like you know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah. Where 100 miler, sometimes it's you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and then over 100 miles, it's like, hey, anything could happen.
That's so crazy, the perspective shift. Did you always think that, like, oh, 80K, that's nothing, or is that something you've had to acquire? So
80K was my first ever official race because it was during COVID when I started really getting into distance running, and I said, oh, I need to do a real race. And I'm scrolling on a Hudo, on like Ultra Trail and all this. And I'm like, I can't find any in-person half marathons or marathons. The only one I found was an 80K. And I was like, I'm signing up.
Were you a runner before that? Or like you got into it during COVID?
I got into like officially running during COVID, like right when COVID hit. But growing up, football, wrestling, rugby, where running is a huge part of the sport. And, you know, they're kind of making you run as penalties. They're like, if you miss like this tackle, you're taking 5 laps of the field.
Yeah. That's how running was for me growing up, dude. I hated it so much because I think most people, it's always used as punishment in sports or like even in PE class. Usually the only time you'd run was like if the class got in trouble or something. So everybody has this really negative connotation of running.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're definitely like a bigger guy for a runner too.
Yeah, that's definitely from like the rugby and the wrestling.
Yeah.
But that's amazing for injury prevention.
Oh, definitely. Do you still strength train quite a bit?
Yeah, I have to. Just keep challenging myself, and, you know, getting injured is the worst thing that could happen.
Right.
So just maybe not strength training like to the degree that you're doing, or like I'm not trying to max out my deadlift. I'm just making sure everything works right.
Yeah, you definitely don't need to do that. That's my ego. That's pure ego for sure. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. What does your strength training look like?
A lot of like knees over toes guy.
Oh yeah, that
Just
stuff's good.
I followed his program and then just slowly implementing that into workouts that I just find fun. Because like if I don't enjoy it, I'm gonna skip it. Like as sad as it is, like that's the truth. It's like plyometrics. I really like doing like compound movements, like clean and jerks. That's what I used to do in high school when I was growing up. So I have like fond memories doing that. I like doing like front squats. Doing they have like classes at the gym that I work at. And that's really just like an easy way to not think and do it.
Right.
But full body movements and then really focusing on flexibility, mobility, yoga, super easy way to get it in.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of single leg stuff, like loading up one leg at a time?
Yeah. Not too much. I definitely implement some of it, but like a split squat where like one leg, they're both on the ground, but one leg is doing much more of the work and the other one's just kind of a balancing.
Right. That makes
tool.
sense. Dang. So played rugby, football, wrestling, and then what got you into running initially?
Yeah.
Since you had this taste for running.
So football, wrestling, rugby, that led me to 4 concussions. Dang. And then I realized, okay, if I get another concussion, like this could be serious trouble for me. So I kind of gave up all sports. I was like working at the bars, like drinking a bunch, going out, just really having no purpose in my life and like not liking anything. And then one of my buddies was like, hey, like it's COVID. We're getting paid by the government to do nothing. Like, let's go run a half marathon. Let's give ourselves 1 month to train. And right away I was like, yes, that's the best idea I've ever heard. Let's do it.
How'd that go?
I ended up running it like 145.
With a month of training?
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically not running at all before that?
Literally.
That's wild.
And it was just like liberating, man. I was like, oh my God, like, this is what I meant to do, like running.
That gave you confidence of like, oh, I might be decent at this thing?
It gave me something to focus on and something to like pour my energy into. And it like was not only exercise, it was creativity, it was meditation, it was just a way to like get everything off my chest.
I love that. After the first kind of impromptu half marathon, where do you go from there?
Just keep running. It was literally nothing to do. Like everything was on lockdown. You were barely allowed to see your friends. So I just kept running. And I didn't have any goals until I found that 80K. I was just like, I just want to run. It's just so fun.
How, what did your training look like back then? Did you know how to train properly?
It was so bad.
What did that look like?
Running every single day, as far as I could every single day.
Probably as fast as you could too.
Yeah. Not stretching, no strength work.
Yep.
Just eating a ton and running a ton.
Did you get injured at all?
Yeah. I blew up my Achilles. I didn't tear it, but like it got super inflamed. My knees would hurt. My lower back would hurt. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I need to run faster.
How did you like make that shift of like, okay, I can't train like this anymore if I'm going to keep doing this?
Yeah. I mean, signing up for the 80K, it's like was a daunting task. So I was like, hey, let me do some research and figure out what the best thing to do is. I mean, I probably shouldn't be having like 5 ibuprofens every night.
Probably not too good for your kidneys.
No, not at all.
So how long was that first 80K after you first started running, like that first half marathon?
It was within a year.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's very fast turnaround.
How did that first 80K go? Is it like, I mean, you got through it obviously, but how did that go? I'm really curious to hear what that experience was like.
Like we said, it was very mountainous and trail. So I was never even a trail run. I was doing all that on road. Yeah. So I was like really focused on like, okay, how do I trail run? I grew up like with a cottage. So I'm familiar with like what forest paths look like. And I basically just ran a ton leading up to it. And I was doing it with my buddy who did that half marathon with me and
cool.
decided to like sign up for the race. He was scared just like I was. So yeah, 12 and a half hours was our finishing time, and we ran the whole thing together. And it was really nice because like when I was feeling strong, he was kind of lagging back, and when I was lagging back, he was dragging us forward.
Yeah.
It was a little Cinderella story.
That's cool.
Sprint finish.
Damn, that's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Doing a 50 mile or 80K within your first year of running too.
Yeah.
Where'd you go after that?
Where did I go after that?
Dude, I gotta say, like, it's so funny how you talk about all these things because you make it sound like so normalized. Like it's just like, oh, it was an 80K. It was like nothing.
Yeah,
it was 12 hours.
It's my life right now.
You like downplay everything. You make it sound so casual.
Yeah, I don't mean to. Like, people are proud of their half marathons and the marathons, and they definitely should be. Like, it's a huge thing to finally get over that hump and do it. But I think it's just because my goal is set so high at this 350 miler that, yeah, I did an 80K. Yeah, I did 100 miles. Like, I have to in order to achieve this next goal.
So you think it's just perspective shift as you keep doing these bigger and bigger things?
Yeah, yeah.
But before you were into running, would you look at like somebody like yourself back then and be like, that guy's crazy? I don't know if you followed people that like did 100 milers or
No, I didn't even know it existed.
Really?
I had no clue.
Interesting. So you did like you thought those people were just crazy, or like I guess you didn't even know that they existed.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Interesting. And now you're one of those people. You do exist.
Yes, sir. One thing I forgot to mention, you're asking if I did mountainous races.
Yeah, yeah.
So at the beginning of 2023, I always wanted to do an Everest run, which is running the equivalent height of Mount Everest.
That's Jesse Itzler does that thing.
Yeah, he hosts it.
29 out of 29.
Exactly. Yeah. Except when he hosts it, everyone takes the gondola back down, so they're only running up.
Oh yeah.
So I decided, I was like, no, I'm going to do it like the purest way, where I run up and run down. And I found a mountain called Mount Orford, exactly 1/20th the height of Mount Everest.
Oh my gosh.
So that took me about like 52 miles. Did it in 26 hours. Holy shit. So long. I thought I was going to finish it in like 18.
Jeez. So 20 up and downs, basically.
Yep.
That's wild.
20 massive hill repeats.
Dude. How, so each climb was what, like 2,000 feet roughly, or I guess like 1,500 somewhere in there?
I'm not the best with feet, but it ended up being, what is it?
Like 300 meters or something like that?
Yeah, around that.
Interesting. Damn. Did you run any of that, or was it hiking mostly? Like going on the uphill is probably hiking, right?
Yeah. Power hiking, tons of pole work. And I chose the gnarliest path that I could do. So there's a lot of like scrambling, like getting up like rocks, or there's a river coming down on you.
Oh my gosh.
And then running down the hill, there are portions where you're able to like really run. But running down ski hills sucks, man. It's like you're destroying your knees. You can't even get a good stride because you're just going to fall over. And it's just painful.
Yeah, it's so steep. Gosh, dude, you've done some big things.
Yeah.
Okay, after the Everest thing, where do we go from there?
Okay, Everest was pretty recently.
Oh, okay. So after that first 80K, where'd you go from there? I just want to go through all these races.
Yeah.
I feel like each one gets crazier and crazier.
I need to figure out my timeline. What did I do?
Too many to remember.
Literally, like, I don't know. I didn't. I should have looked at my
So this
my
was
resume.
like 2020. You started all this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Damn.
I just did
so much in just 3 years.
I'd have to like go through my Instagram to like figure out every race I did, because there's a ton of like unsanctioned races, and like every year, like, so my birthday runs are kind of like so special to me. So like first year I did 23 5Ks in 23 hours, like kind of like backyard ultra style.
So like every hour.
Yeah, do a 5K, come back. Then the next year I turned 24, so I was like, okay, 24 hours running nonstop. And then that I got 140K, like just under 100 miles, and I was taking the end, like I was just walking.
Yeah.
One of my friends brought me some like homemade tacos. And, oh my God, I've never had a bigger smile on my face than seeing that. I'm like 21 hours deep, and I'm like, you brought me tacos,
dude.
And then this year was the 25 summits.
So this is so entertaining.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, the energy you give off too is so good. You remind me of you've seen The Alpinist, right?
You were talking to me about that last time. I don't remember the movie exactly, but I'm sure I watched it.
Okay, it's another Canadian dude. Maybe that's what it is. But his name is Marc Andre, and he's like climbs these crazy mountains, but he does it all free solo, and it's like alpining these like ice faces and all this stuff. But like, dude, you remind me of him because it's like he's got like this really nice personality. I think maybe it's all Canadians. I don't know. But then you're just doing these crazy things, and it sounds so like normal to you. It's like, it's so interesting because to most people, these just sound like not only crazy, but just like impossible to most people.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm thinking of it as if it's impossible, then my body's going to think it's extremely hard. But like, if I'm looking at it like, oh yeah, it's just an Everest, you know, anyone could do it if they really wanted to, then my body's it's going to be easier for me to complete it.
Where do you think that mindset, like, where did you learn that mindset? Where does that come from? Like, did you learn that like through sports or your parents, or?
Definitely sports and coaches, amazing coaches, like really help like define that like discipline, just like do it no matter what, play through the pain. I don't know where I developed like that exact mindset though, because
Yeah.
it's a bit more holistic than like a football coach.
Yeah. Do your parents do running or endurance of any kind?
Not at all.
Really?
No, they're far from it.
Anybody in your family do anything like this?
No.
What do they think of you?
At first they were like, yeah, cool. Like I remember having a conversation telling my dad like, yeah, I'm gonna go do an 80K at Mont Saint Anne. Like it's gonna be amazing. I'm nervous. I'm excited. It's gonna be crazy. And he's like, you can't do it. You haven't even done a marathon yet. Like, what are you talking about? You're not gonna finish.
Gosh.
And Dad was like, I'm gonna prove him wrong and I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this.
Dude, that's a hard thing to hear, especially from a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you say after you did it?
Good job. He's like, you didn't do 100K though.
Oh.
That's kind of like in my culture though. Like all Ukrainian
Really?
parents kind of have that like keep pushing you forward mentality.
Oh, so
give you a small pat on the back and then keep pushing you forward.
Dang. So your parents are from Ukraine?
Both my grandparents are from Ukraine. My parents are born in Canada, but 100% Ukrainian bloodline.
Dang, that's cool. And you were born in Montreal
Yes, sir.
and raised there too?
Yes, sir.
Do you think you'll ever leave Montreal?
I don't know. I left. I went to go study in Toronto, then came back to Montreal during COVID, and I've just been bouncing around. Like I've been traveling to the States a bunch. I don't know. Montreal's a really special place.
Yeah, I need to get up there. You said there's like a mountain in the middle of the city, right?
Mount Royal. So it's like amazing. Like no matter where you are, you're less than 10K from the mountain.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a pretty small city, all tight knit, and the running community is amazing there.
Do you do most of your training on trails or on the road?
Most on trails,
Okay.
just because it's so accessible and like so much more fun.
Yeah. And then probably like your commuting miles are obviously on the road.
Yeah. That's hard, but I could cut through the mountain to like
Yeah.
go from one place to another.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like cool trails just like hidden in the city.
Yeah. Dude, tell me about this this 50K that you ran just eating pizza.
Yes, sir.
The video
Yeah.
was so good for it. It was like dad cam style.
Yeah,
Whoever
yeah.
shot or edited that did such a good job.
Yeah, thank you. Austin Banks was the guy who shot it on like actual VHS with like the actual like cassettes.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. That was so fun. That was literally like, again, like I thought of it a week before. I messaged Pizza Tony and I was like, yo, what do you think if I just run 50K and I keep eating your pizza? Like I'm an ultra runner. I do this, I do that. Like I think it would be an amazing idea and we can make like a great video. And the first thing they replied to me is like, sounds like you just want some free pizza. And I was like, well, yeah. And he was like, never mind. Like that's a joke. We're in. Let's do it. And they were awesome. They were supplying pizza. I was so scared I was gonna like either poo my pants or throw up or something was gonna go horribly wrong. But I took it pretty conservative. I was eating like pretty chill pizza towards the end, like margarita pizza, so like nothing crazy. And yeah, it was a really fun day. It was like beautiful weather. I didn't push myself too hard. I think the 50K probably took me like 12 hours ish, maybe 11 hours.
Did you have a goal of like, okay, I'm going to eat an entire pizza? Or is it just like, I'm just going to get the 50K done and just use the pizza as fuel?
One slice every 5K. It's like I had to do it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the route wasn't just any route. It was like from Pizza Tony, which is just like in the middle of the city.
This is in Montreal?
Yeah. All the way to the top of Mount Royal. So like every time I'm summiting the mountain, it's not that big. It's like 400 meters. But every time I'm going to the top, back down, top, back down.
Oh my gosh. Did you have any stomach issues or anything?
Not really. I was burping and the burps felt good. I was having electrolytes, water. I'm coming to find out that I have kind of a stomach of steel.
Yeah. Dude, that's helpful with these ultras. I think I'm starting to learn that about myself too. Like
It's the biggest difference maker.
I've really never had any stomach issues. Have you ever dealt with anything like that?
One time I just didn't have enough real food. This was during my 24-hour for my 24th birthday, where it was getting to me bad. Like it hurt so much that like a lot of my miles I just couldn't run just because like it was painful. Solved it by having like 2 or 3 chicken soups from like Campbell's and some ginger ale and just like breathing through it and just letting it pass. And then once I was able to stomach down food again, I was like, okay, back to potatoes, back to bread and croissants.
Yeah. What were you using before that? Was it just like gels and powders and stuff?
Yeah, I started off just doing gels. I was talking to one of my friends and I was like, man, it's so expensive to fuel all these runs. Like I'm trying to do 80-kilometer runs, all these like marathons every weekend.
Yeah.
Like, well, how am I going to, I need a nutrition sponsor. And he was like, dude, it's not that hard. Just like make mashed potatoes. It's so cheap. And I was like, mind blown. Like put salt in your mashed potatoes and it fueled everything. And for the longest time I was known as like the potato guy because I would run around with these like Ziploc bags and mashed potatoes and it'd be like,
I mean, it's got carbs. Is there fat to potatoes or no?
No.
It's just probably pure carbs,
Yeah.
right? Interesting. And you get put some salt on it for electrolytes.
Yeah.
That's smart.
yeah, they worked really well. And then I would have like nuts for fat
Yeah.
or just like anything, bacon.
And it was that race you were doing mashed potatoes when you had the stomach issues?
So it was the lack of mashed potatoes that I had the stomach issues.
Okay.
Because it was my birthday. I was having so much fun. I had like 5 beers in the like 3 hours in, and candy and gels, and I was just like having a blast, like taking it not seriously whatsoever. And then like 10 hours in, I was like, oh, I'm feeling this.
Yeah, the sugar is not good for your stomach. I think that's usually what gets a lot of people. It's just the pure sugar that comes from gels. Like even like if I have a big like marathon workout or even after a marathon, it's like that's all I have in my stomach is gels for the day. My stomach, it's like later in the day, it's like not too happy
bad.
with me.
It's really bad.
But yeah. So what do you feel with now? Like this 100K you just did this last weekend. What did you feel for that?
Yeah. So during my days, like normal day-to-day life, I started adapting more of like an animal-based diet, which basically all I did was cut out pasta, cut out bread, cut out rice, and really just focus on like having meat every day. Like most of my meals contain meat.
Do you do like ground beef or chicken, or like any particular kind of meat?
I like it all.
Yeah.
Like I grew up super traditional Eastern European diet where it was steak, potatoes, some type of green. That was like my supper 5 times a week. So eating steak is like, please.
Yeah.
It's an amazing diet to have. It's so easy to follow. And then cheese for dessert. It's like, hell yeah.
What do you do for carbs? Or do you do
Fruits.
carbs? Okay.
Yeah.
Any particular kind of fruit?
And anything that's on sale at the grocery store. Recently it's been pineapple.
Pineapple, really? Pineapple's pretty good. Yeah, dude. I think the that carnivore / keto, animal based, whatever you want to call it, all kind of in the same bucket, I guess. Nothing has ever made me feel so good as I do that. Like I still have like 1 or 2 cheat meals a week, but I think it's the lack of processed foods more than anything. Like some people thrive on vegan diets or just carnivore or just whatever, but I think as long as you're not eating a lot of processed stuff, that seems to be the key.
Yeah.
But I mean, meat, it's so easy for your body to process. It's like same thing with like if you do raw dairy, it's way easier for your body to process or fruit versus like this dense carbs and like bread and pasta and all that shit.
Yeah, that gives you that carb crash.
Yeah, you get this like roller coaster of energy levels. Whereas I feel like with the carnivore or animal based, it's just so much more consistent. What made you switch to that kind of diet?
I see these people that I look up to, like George St. Pierre and all these other athletes doing this diet. So I'm like, hey, I want to try. Like, what if I increase my performance even more? Like, how long could I run for?
Yeah. Did you notice a pretty big difference when you switched?
More like I'm not tired at 3 p.m. I don't need that afternoon coffee, and just like sharper.
Yeah.
Mentally sharper.
I feel that too. I mean, I know. Do you know Mike McKnight? I think I was talking to you about him the other day, the low carb runner on Instagram.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's like he's like the king of 200-mile races basically in the U.S. And then he's low carb, animal based, and then Zach Bitter, the American record holder for the 100-miler, he's low carb, mostly animal based. I think there's definitely something to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really works. I don't think you could do it for maybe during training for like marathons. But you definitely have to have more carbs for that, I think. Yeah. Which you could just eat more fruit. But would you consider your diet low carb or just animal based?
Low carb. I mean, like, yeah, I guess it's like animal favorable.
Right.
But there's this guy called Mark Sisson. I don't know if he's from Austin or not.
That's the Primal Kitchen guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where he talks about being like metabolically flexible, which is like so cool because you asked me what I fueled with for the 25 summits, the 25th birthday with the marathon. And it was like, I started implementing carbs again. So I had like sweet potatoes. I had like these nice cookies, Oreos, a bunch of like canned soup. And then I take these Hornet gels that's just honey, matcha, and salt, which is like a really nice alternative. It's just like an organic gel. Yeah. Because if I take too many like of like the non-organic gels, like, dude, like you were saying, my stomach later in the day, it's bad.
All that processed sugar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you tried Morton gels?
Oh my God, I'm addicted to Morton.
They're pretty good. And I just had a guy on the podcast talking about them. And I don't know how much you know about it, but that hydrogel technology that they use, the whole reason Morton is so unique is because it's still just that sugar you're getting. But because it's like encapsulated in that hydrogel, it's way easier on your stomach. So whatever they're doing definitely works pretty well. That's probably the only processed, non-organic gel I'd probably eat.
I consistently say Morton is the Apple of like nutrition, sports nutrition.
Yeah.
They're so awesome. They gave a presentation in person the first time I did the speed project, and they're so hyped. They were describing all the technology. It was so good. And so during those 2 days of running, I probably had like 50 Mortons.
Nice. This last weekend?
No. The first time I did the speed project.
Oh, okay.
But so like including the gels and the both types of bars and the liquid, like it's all so good.
Did you have any issues with it?
No, zero issues. But it's just so expensive.
It is expensive. I use the Spring Energy gels, and those are really expensive too. It's like $450 per gel, which is like it's like $90 for 20 of them. Like, I don't know if this is worth it.
I never heard of that until I saw your content about it.
Yeah,
I don't know
so
if they're in
good.
Canada.
I think I have some here. I can give you one. You can try it, see if you like it. It tastes just like applesauce, basically.
Nice. That's a huge trend too. Eating baby food on the run.
Yeah. There's have you seen? I don't know if they have them in Canada. They're called Go-Go Squeeze.
Yeah.
It's like little green applesauce. I think each one's like 20 grams of carbs.
Yeah,
it's like
perfect.
150 calories or something. I see people using those for gels, and it's way cheaper because it's literally just applesauce.
Yeah.
Damn, that's wild, dude. And then I saw you did another. Maybe that was what I was going to ask you about. I thought there was another like kind of crazy. Oh, it was the McDonald's thing. You had a video. It was just kind of a random reel I saw. On your page about you were just out for like a long training run, and you stopped halfway and like got McDonald's.
Yeah.
What was the deal with that video?
So I wanted to prove that like everyone, they're like, oh, I can't go on a run because of this. I can't go on a run because of that. And I was on this long run, and the only thing around me was McDonald's. And I was like, okay, well, I need to eat something. And I wasn't doing the diet at the time. So I just had like 2 McDoubles and 2 McChickens. And I just said like, yo, this isn't going to stop me from running. Like, yeah, I'm going to fart a couple times, but nothing's going to stop me. If I want to run, I'm going to run. And I actually DM'd McDonald's like 5 or 10 times being like, let's do a collab. Like, I'll run 200 kilometers only fueled off McDonald's. And then they never got back to me.
Damn, McDonald's, if you're listening to this, get back to Nick. Come on. That's so funny. Where do you get all these content ideas for like the 50K pizza and the McDonald's thing? And I've seen you do some other crazy things on Instagram too.
Yeah, I just want to be a little bit different, and I like eating McDonald's. I like eating pizza, and I like running, so I just combine the two.
That's so funny. When did you get into running, or not? Whenever that. When did you get into content?
Yeah, probably like content. Maybe like a year and a half ago was when I seriously started doing it. So I was off Instagram, off all social media for so long. And then when I had that switch where like I realized, like, hey, I want to be a runner. I want to make running like some sort of my career because it's the only thing that's making me happy right now. I was like, I need to download Instagram. I need to, make this public, that this is going to be my business. This is going to be my life. And like find my first client. And yeah, that was over 2 years ago, but only a year and a half ago-ish. Maybe even a year ago did I start doing like more content, really focused on the content. Because at first my Instagram, my first 35 posts would never included me. It was just the athletes I was training, some friends I was training, just like straight up advice in text.
Yeah. And
then I was like, okay, no, this is what's getting the best feedback. This is what's getting the most engagement. Like, let me show who I am. Yeah. And now I'm super comfortable in front of a camera.
Yeah. Oh, it's even still sometimes I'm like, it's like, it's awkward because it's so unnatural to talk to a camera. It's not like, I know it's not what people are supposed to do necessarily. So it's very unnatural. It's like a learning process for sure.
Yeah.
What's your like kind of, do you have like a strategy with your content? Like a kind of a, like what's the intention behind all of it right now?
The intention was, I know not a lot of people are doing 350-mile races. So I want to show like the inside scoop of what it looks like to train for a 350-mile race.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do a good job at it. I don't know if I'm doing a great job. But just really showing like nutrition, what my running schedule looks like, what my strength training looks like, and really what my recovery looks like.
Yeah.
Tons of massages, tons of fascia stretch therapy, cupping, and mobility, foam rolling.
Is there any kind of content that you noticed perform better than other types? That you're like,
running 50K on pizza.
Yeah, like they're kind of more abstract, like
yeah,
artsy,
like really well edited videos.
Yeah. Do you edit everything yourself?
Not that video, but yeah, I do all my like daily vlogs and stuff. It's all me.
What about that McDonald's one?
That was me.
You edited that one?
Yeah.
What did you shoot that on? It was like a filter on your phone?
No. I have a legit fisheye lens that like it just like clips onto your iPhone, and that's what I was using because like that's really what made me more comfortable about posting every day. It's like when it's just the straight up iPhone flat screen, it felt weird. But like having that fisheye, it felt more artsy. It felt more me. And I was like, yeah, I don't mind sharing this every day. Like, it looks cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I love the look of that video. It was like inspiring me. I was like, damn, I gotta get more creative with my content, because that video, like, I can't remember the music. I think it was sort of like a rap, like hip hop kind of thing. It looked like a rap music video almost, but you're just out for like a long run eating McDonald's, and it's so good. Dude, I like that. Where do you come up with ideas for content? Like, is it just, you know, whatever comes to your mind? Do you have like a process for coming up with ideas?
It's really less getting ideas for content. It's just like, what am I doing today and how do I capture it? Like, I was going for a long run and I just happened to get, like, I didn't think like, oh, let me do a video where I show people I get McDonald's. It was just like, I'm going to go get McDonald's and I'm going to whip my phone out.
Dude, I think I tell everybody that's like my biggest piece of advice for anybody doing content is just, it's basically document and not create. Like Gary Vee talks about that a lot. Do you follow him at all?
Yeah, of course.
That's his big thing, is just document your journey. Don't try to create something.
Yeah. I made a vlog the other day where literally I said, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to do. And that's okay, because not every day is going to be a big step.
Yeah. How often do you post? Do you
I try to do every day. Recently, it's not been every day.
Yeah.
But that's the goal.
Yeah, I find the consistency is huge. Not only for like the algorithm, like Instagram, you know, wants you to post as much as possible, but I think when you're just consistent with something and you post and do it as much as you can, you're just building that skill and you get better at it. It's like running. Like, if you want to get better at running, you just got to run more. If you want to get better at content and you want your audience to grow and your community to grow, like, you just got to post more content. Do you find that to be true? Like, if you post more consistently, more frequently, it helps grow it a little bit?
Definitely. Just being easier to vlog, finding new ways to just like make it super integratable into your day to day.
Right. Yeah. It's I know authors, like writers, will kind of have that same mindset of like, okay, every day, no matter what, I'm going to write 100 words or I'm going to write for 20 minutes or whatever it is. And if it's good, it's good. If it's shit, it's shit. But it's like every day, non-negotiable. You just put it out there. And I find that to be the case with content too. Because for me, I've been posting, it's every day since like last August. So like 14, 15 months ago.
Wow.
Every day, I haven't missed a day, but it's like some days obviously are going to be better than others. But again, I think that consistency is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Some days, like, I'll be posting something, like I'll be editing something. I was like, this is so shit. Like, I don't want to post this. But I came up with a rule that's like, I used to be kind of like self-conscious, like, about posting, especially if it's like a personal Instagram.
Yeah.
But my new rule is like, if I thought this was cool for even 2 seconds, I post it. Don't think about it twice.
I like that. How often do you think about, like, when you're creating content, like visual, like thinking, what would other people, like, how would they like to see this?
Never.
Or is it always like, this is how I want to do it? And this
how am I going to capture this? What's the way that's going to look the best?
Yeah.
Not for other people, but just objectively.
I like that. I think that's, if you're creating any kind of product that people are going to consume, whether it's content or food or a shirt, whatever it is, I think it has to be made for yourself first, of like, I'm making this because I like it. And then if anybody else likes it, that's cool too. If not, whatever, I still like it.
I just finished reading Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act.
I actually saw a clip from him the other day talking about that.
Yeah, and he said, a line that stuck with me was like, if you make something that everyone likes, it's, what's the exact word? But he basically said, like, it's not as good. Like, when you make something that's really good, like, there are going to be a lot of people who don't like it.
That's so true. Yeah, I mean, I guess the best things out there can be like polarizing in some way. I just read the Steve Jobs biography.
Okay.
Have you read it?
Nope.
Dude, I've been recommending it to everybody. It's so good. But that's like how Apple thought about everything, especially early on, was like, okay, we're not going to make a product based on what we think people want. We're going to make a product that we personally just want to use. Yeah. And then, I mean, now they're the biggest company in the world, but, dude, okay. Content. I like the content talk. I want to go back to the speed project stuff. What's your like typical week of training? I know you said you commute a few days a week, but what's like mileage, intensity, all that kind of look like?
Super, super light intensity. Maybe like finish off one run with some intervals, just like some sprints. But trying to stick zone 2 the whole time. Just doing my run clubs, run commuting, and then just chilling. Mileage, usually around 100 kilometers, a little bit more.
That's nothing crazy.
No, it's not. Super obtainable, super easy to accomplish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ramp it up now. I'm at not that much for this week.
Well, you've been on vacation.
Yeah.
In Austin.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really not that hard. One of my like mentors told me a really great piece of advice where he just said like, go easy on yourself in training. Because when you take on this daunting of a task, it's easy to want to do such crazy things. So he said, go easy on myself. So that's what I've been doing. And once a month, I'll do some extravagant run. Like last month, I did a 75K road. I think I was telling you about it, where I brought out, like, with my run club, a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like, we were like 60 people. A bunch of people did their first ever ultra.
That's so cool.
This month was obviously the 25 summits plus a marathon.
Dude. Yeah, there's something to that, especially when you're training for something so, like, you have so much time to train for it, because you got, what, another 3.5 months or so, 3 months?
14 weeks, yes.
Yeah. When did you start kind of training for
As soon as I got in.
When was that?
25 weeks before the race.
Yeah, it's a long time to have a goal.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have kind of like little benchmarks in between there.
Yeah.
So once a month, you just do kind of a bigger push.
Exactly, yeah. Once a month, I have a big push. Right after that, I have like a deload week, and then just ramping up again, more kilometers. And really just like making sure my ankles feel okay, making sure my knees feel okay. Because like when push comes to shove, I know I have the mental fortitude to keep running. But it's like I'm focusing more on, is my muscle and joint, are they strong enough to get me there?
Right. Yeah, because you can suffer through basically any physical pain.
Yeah.
And, as long as you're not like injured. But yeah, as long as you're like, you got to make sure your body's in shape, obviously. So yeah, and you want to optimize too. I feel like I'm sure you want to do it the fastest as possible, right? Yeah. I feel like there's a point of diminishing returns with ultras. It seems like when it comes to training volume, like whether it's like how long your long runs are or just the weekly volume. So do you kind of like cap it at like how do you go about that? Like, because obviously 350 miles, like you're never going to come close to that in training.
No.
But how do you go about like really just making sure that your body's ready? I mean, like, it's kind of a big question, I guess, but yeah, I don't know.
I live off the philosophy where it's like, I'm always ready to run, and no matter what the distance is, I'm always ready. So just kind of staying in that state for a long period of time. But when it comes to the ultra, it's way more mental. Like, I always tell people, it's like, I'm bringing myself like a warrior going into battle. Like that's my mentality going into an ultra race. But I also contrast that with the night before every ultra race, I'm having beer and nachos.
Really?
Yeah. It's my like tradition.
Really?
That's what I did for my first ultra, and it went great. So I'm like, every single ultra, beer and nachos.
Did you do that this last weekend before the 100K?
Yep.
Are you gonna do that before the speed project
Definitely.
too? Definitely. Nachos.
Yeah.
Just like one beer or
2 or 3.
2 or 3. Dude, that's like reminds me of like the Courtney DeWalter kind of diet.
Yeah, she's awesome.
That's so funny. Interesting. Yeah, are you worried about like beer and nachos not being, because I'm sure like, I mean, that's not the
it's
the greatest thing for your body. And so it's just a mental thing. Like, like a superstition.
Kind of gets me comfortable. It's not a superstition. It's kind of like materializing, like not taking myself too seriously. Like, and kind of just like lowering the nerves, like, because it's really comforting to have beer and nachos.
Interesting. Yeah. Man, I might have to steal that idea. I don't know if I'm going to do beer and nachos necessarily, but some kind of thing to like ease the tension.
Yeah.
Because when you have a race the next day, it can be really intimidating.
Oh, dude, you could lose an entire night to sleep, just be jittering, like, oh my God, did I do everything perfectly?
Yeah. Interesting. Do you do anything else for like mental preparation going into a big race?
Constantly telling myself, this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done. I'm going to feel the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. Nothing's going to hurt more than what I'm doing. I want the pain. Like, I'm excited for the pain, and this better hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're just embracing, welcoming that discomfort.
You have to. Yeah. It's not supposed to be easy.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself a lot while I'm running. I'm like, okay, well, it's not supposed to be easy, so I'm doing the work.
I hear that a lot. I've heard that from a lot of ultra runners. That's something they tell themselves is like, I'm out here because I signed up to be out here. I'm out here because I chose to be out here, and it's supposed to hurt. And I feel like if you kind of go the other way and you tell yourself like, oh, this is so uncomfortable, this sucks, like you're probably gonna quit.
Yeah.
Or you're not gonna be able to get through it. Right?
If you tell yourself that, you're literally gonna hurt more. It's gonna feel worse if you're telling yourself these negative thoughts.
Yeah, if you try and fight it instead of just embracing it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you do any kind of like meditation or anything?
Of course, yeah. Just try to implement meditation. Started off with the Waking Up app by Sam Harris.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a great
I
way
love
to
Sam
like
Harris.
to instill the habits. And then just yesterday I did that sensory deprivation float tank.
Oh, where'd you go here?
Kuya.
Oh, okay, that's where that was at.
Yeah.
Is that downtown somewhere?
I think so. I'm
Okay.
not too familiar with
Okay.
Austin, but kind of
Interesting.
right next to On It.
Oh, okay, yeah. I gotta go check that out. Was that your first time doing that?
Yeah, it was awesome. A lot of my friends told me like all the great benefits they had from it.
Yeah.
And the one specifically at Kuya is way bigger. Usually it's the size of like a tanning bed.
Right.
But this one was the size of like a queen size mattress, like a king size mattress.
Oh, whoa.
So you're floating around in there and it's super forced meditation. The first like 5 minutes, you're like kind of like, what's going on here? You're like, but it's like 300 pounds of Epsom salt. So like you're forced to float. There's no fighting it.
Really?
And I just did breath work, just 5-second inhale, 5-second outhale with no pause, just doing that. And then switching to my biggest inhale to my biggest exhale and just kept doing that. And then once I stopped paying attention to the breath work and it started happening automatically, that's when like the overwhelming meditative feeling came. I started hearing waterfalls, started feeling like I was spinning and like seeing like very vivid imagery. And I kept asking myself, I was like, who am I? What am I made of? And like, why am I different? And those were like kind of the mantras going on during my meditation.
Was that part intentional or that's just like what came up in your mind?
Yeah, I like wrote in my journal like, because I was kind of treating it like it was serious because I didn't know what to expect. I thought I'm gonna maybe like I might have like a bad trip in there. I'm gonna get like super anxious or I wanted to make it worth it. Like I'm paying like $70 for this thing. Like might as well make it worth it. So I had the intention. I wanted to like really see if I can make the most out of it.
How long were you in there for?
An hour.
An hour.
So they give you like a special tea to have, and then they put you in a massage chair for 15 minutes, and then I was in there for an hour.
Dude, that sounds like such a cool experience.
Yeah.
Did you learn some stuff while you were in there, and like about yourself, or like did you come out with some new knowledge that you didn't go in with?
I wish I learned more. I learned that because like while being in Austin, I had this like uneasy feeling, and I wasn't sure what it was, and it was literally being outside of my comfort zone because like I've been away from home for 2 weeks. I'm not staying with any of my like really close friends. My buddy who I'm staying with, he left me his apartment, so I'm just like in this new city completely alone. So I realized like what that was, that weird feeling is literally just being outside of my comfort zone, and it's a good thing, and I should embrace it, and I should search for that more.
Yeah. Would you ever live outside of Montreal? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Do you plan on like? You seem like the kind of guy that do van life.
We were talking about that. Yeah, I'd love to do van life, but like we said, like you need a deadline.
Yeah.
Unless you have like the perfect setup, or it might be like a 30-foot RV or something. Like it gets smelly. It gets claustrophobic.
Have you ever been in one of those like Sprinter vans?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think didn't you say for the speed project that's what you guys are getting, right?
Yeah. It's not official. We didn't book it, but I have my eye on one on whatever that website is where you rent cars.
Turo?
Yeah,
is it that
exactly.
One? Yeah, it's like Airbnb for cars, kind of. Yeah. Those Sprinter vans are sick, and you can get a mortgage on them actually, at least in the U.S.
Oh wow.
You can, because it's like a domicile, so it's like you can consider it your home basically. So you can get like a 30-year loan on it.
That's awesome.
With like a mortgage.
Are you paying property tax on it?
I don't know actually. I don't know. I don't even know if that first part's true. I just somebody told me that, so I believed him.
Nice.
But I think you can. Yeah, van life would be cool, dude, especially for how much you run and like you're just adventuring all the time.
Yeah.
I wonder, would you have to get like when you come to the States for like a long period of time? Do you have to get like a visa or anything, or use it just passport because it's short term?
In Canada, I'm allowed to spend 6 months out of the year in the States.
Oh, really?
And then the second I spend more than 6 months, like total, I either need like a specific visa, work permit, or like some really good reason.
Yeah.
And like file a bunch of paperwork.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder how they would know if you spent like 7 months here.
Yeah.
They're gonna come after you, probably. Interesting. Dude, what's do you have any like big so you have these monthly things leading up to the speed project? You've still got January and February.
Yep.
Do you have anything special planned for those?
Do I? January 20th, I'm going to be hosting a race with my run club that's on the historically the windiest, coldest, snowiest night of the year. and we're gonna be throwing this big race that's like a movie themed race. We're gonna have like popcorn and like movies playing all night. So 5K loops until 100K.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and just like torturous weather.
It probably gets really freaking cold up there, right?
Yeah. Sub freezing. It's probably gonna be like -30 or -40 Celsius.
Jeez. That's nuts.
Yeah, so like close to 0 Fahrenheit, I believe.
Yeah, that's cold. Dang, and probably quite a bit of snow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tons.
How do you run in the winter, like in the snow? Like,
Yeah.
do you do anything like do you like wear trail shoes or like the what are they called, the yak tracks or whatever?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, first of all, to go trail running in the snow. If you're on the actual trails on the mountain, you don't need anything special. Just like acknowledge that your feet are going to get wet and accept it.
Right.
And it's so much fun. It's basically like skiing. You're just like having fun. The ground's so soft. You could take a tumble and like it doesn't hurt at all.
Right.
If you're commuting in the city, we like to call them like either like micro spikes or what's the other word for them? Crampons.
Oh yeah, okay. That makes sense.
And you need those when it's like black ice
Icy.
or ice, because like, or else you're slipping. No matter how much grip you have at the bottom of your shoe, it's
Right. That makes sense. Damn. That's cool. I kind of miss the snow a little bit. There's no snow in Texas, obviously. Yeah. I mean, it's good running weather year round though.
It is. I
The
was running
summers
my
are
shirt off
brutal.
today,
Yeah.
which all my friends back home are like, "What? What are you doing? You're crazy. I'm so jealous."
How much longer are you in Austin for?
I leave tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Back to Canada.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Austin's a special place. Like I know I'm coming back.
Yeah. It's so cool here, man. It's like it's so many people like us, like young, like-minded, like entrepreneur type of people, like a lot of people in the fitness space, running, obviously. I just wish there was mountains here. That's the one thing it's missing is mountains. Because there's like some trail stuff, but it's nothing like running in the mountains. But yeah, damn, that's cool, man.
Yes, sir.
Let me see what else I got. I feel like we talked about the majority of what I want to talk about. We can edit all this out if we need to.
I never noticed that tattoo. Work harder.
Work harder. Yeah. Some days I'm like, why did I get this thing? My thing with it is always like, doesn't matter how smart you are, how intelligent you are, how talented you are, anything. Like, as long as you're the hardest worker, like you can work harder than yourself even. Like, you can do anything.
My buddy Will and I, we found this new quote, and we're both getting it like as a huge poster in our room.
Yeah.
Just greatness only. And that was what Skepta, like the UK rapper, like that was his come up. Just looking, he had that in his room just every single day. Just, okay, greatness only. Like no matter what you're doing, every action is to produce greatness.
I like that. One of my favorite sayings is how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes, sir.
It reminds me of that, of like, if you're going to take the time to do anything, you might as well just do it the best you can.
Yeah.
And because that's just going to dictate how everything else in your life goes.
Yeah. The way I see that quote is like, okay, if I slack off on one thing, I'm slacking off on everything. So like if I want to have a successful business, if I want to be a successful runner, I need to do everything else in my life the way I would treat that.
Yeah.
So like cleaning the house, like being as good of a brother, son, boyfriend as I could be. Yeah. Just everything matters.
I like that. How are you planning logistically to run this speed project? Like, because there's no course, there's no like set markings or anything. It's just like get from LA to Vegas as fast as possible. How do you go about even planning for something like that?
Yeah. So they give you the directions to do the OG course, which is the longest way to do it, following mostly road, barely any desert. So that's gonna be my baseline. And then I'm finding some stuff online, which is like some shortcuts through the desert, through just like these big plots of sand. And in terms of the route, that's the thing I have figured out the least at this moment. In terms of other logistics, I have 3 of my biggest friends coming, these absolute dogs who are just down to be sleep deprived and smelly with me for 5 days.
Are they all runners too?
2 of them extreme runners, and then 1 of them is getting into it.
What do you deem as extreme running?
Okay, so
like, is it more than you?
Yeah, Mathieu, who is like honestly like one of my mentors, he just finished the Tor 330 on like the Italian Dolomite Mountains, which is like 3 or 4 Everests within the 300 kilometers. And this guy just knows like every trail in Montreal like the back of his hand. He goes to Mount Washington, like the whites all the time. And he's like, yeah, those trails are gnarly. And he just has so much knowledge.
That's cool. So you got 3 people coming out.
Yeah.
And you guys get in a van, just
Yeah.
living out of that thing. How many miles a day do you plan on covering? Or is it just kind of like whatever?
Yeah. So the first night is going to be the only night where I skip all my sleep. I think I'm going to have enough energy and adrenaline to just go through it, and it won't bite me in the ass. After that, I plan on sleeping for a 2 to 3 hour nap every 8 hours. So 3 times a day. Eating, just normally eating, consistently eating, making sure I never get hungry, making sure I never get thirsty. And something that's tricky is we don't have enough space in the van to have all the food for all 5 days. So we need to plan out grocery stops on the way too. And hopefully they could do it while I'm doing some of my long segments.
Right.
And then a couple pairs of shoes. I'm planning on starting in my normal size of like 11 or 11 and a half and finishing in a 12 or 12 and a half shoe.
Really? Just because your feet will be so swollen?
I've seen some gnarly pictures on these like YouTube documentaries of TSP solo. Their feet look wrecked.
How hot does it get? Do you know?
So it's in March. It's not the worst.
Yeah. Still Death Valley though.
Yeah. So I think a high would be like 40 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
Which is probably near 100.
I was gonna say it's like 100, I think.
And then at night it gets really slow, like just above freezing.
Wow. Yeah. So like really, really big variances.
Huge.
That's hard on your body too.
Yeah.
My dude, you got to connect with Pierce Shao. That's the guy who he just did the Triple Crown of 200s this year, and at Moab this year he said it was like, because it's a desert in Utah, and it's like at night it gets close to freezing or below freezing, especially when you're up high in the mountains. It's like snowing and stuff. But then during the day when you're down lower in the valleys and it's 2:00 in the afternoon, it's like close to 100 degrees. It's just really hot. You gotta talk to him because have you done any multi-day things like this yet?
Not like extreme, like not where I'm not able to sleep at my house.
Yeah.
Like I've done one where it's just like consistently running throughout the day, go to sleep, next day consistently running. And then in September I was living, like I rented an RV and then just went from Vegas to the Grand Canyon and just consistently running, just kind of like implementing it in my lifestyle, like I keep saying. But no, never this hard. Yeah,
you gotta connect with Pierce, dude. I'll connect you guys after this, because that was one of the biggest things he had to figure out was the sleep side of things. I know he tried a few different things, and a 200 obviously might be a little bit different than the 350, but similar, I guess, is like this multi-day thing. And it seems like it's really a contest of who can eat the most food without issues or minimize the issues, and then who can push through, not with just no sleep or minimal sleep, but like be the most strategic with your sleep. Yeah. Because obviously everybody's a little bit different. Some people can go longer. And I know one thing he was saying was the first Triple Crown or the first 200 he did, he had like a set sleep schedule. He's like, okay, I'm going to sleep this time at this aid station, here at this aid station. But there were some times like where he just couldn't sleep because he was feeling really good. So he's like, I got to keep going forward. So I think as each race progressed, he kind of learned more where he would kind of just sleep more based off of feel. Yeah. Which that seems to be kind of the biggest thing, where instead of, trying to plan for when you're going to sleep specifically. But again, everybody's a little bit different. The more you get into these like extreme ultra endurance events, the more you realize these people don't have that intense of a strategy. It's always like, I do what feels good and I listen to my body, which is like stressful to plan. It's like, okay, well, I'll listen to my body, I guess. Yeah. Especially for a crew, because they kind of just have to go off of whatever you're doing. Yeah. So like we're making a plan. I'm like, okay, this whole plan could just be just for fun and nothing really even matters. So is the majority of this route from Vegas to LA or LA to Vegas, is it like a mix of road? Is there trail? You said it's through the desert, so you like running on sand and stuff too? Yeah. So the first 100K, you just got to get out of LA and get to the mountains. So that's road no matter what you want to do. And then once you're starting to approach the desert, then their options open up. And a lot of it's either like sand or rock or like some weird gravel. And the biggest thing I got to watch out for is not running on the side of the highway too much because they're slanted. Yeah. So just like one knee is going to take way more of the impact. And like I've seen so many of the TSP documentaries where like people get destroyed doing that. And even last year on my team, like one of my runners' knees just got blown out. Really? Yeah. 8 hours in too of a two day run. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's so true. I kind of felt that during my 100K because it was around a parking lot, and it was like,
Did you switch directions at all?
no,
Oh,
I
wow.
wish I would have. But yeah, it was like the whole time one side was a little bit slanted, and so like I could tell that knee felt it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good thing to know ahead of time, though. That's really powerful.
Yeah. Just run in the middle of the road like an idiot.
Yeah. Is there so like when you're running through the desert, is there like a trail?
No,
Or
you just got to know.
You're just like
GPS.
based off the sun or like the
Coordinates.
GPS, I guess makes sense.
Some people who live in the area, they like know some like certain landmarks, like
Yeah.
a specific broken sign, or like even in the OG route, I could send you the document because it's so funny. It's like, hey, go underneath the rusty sign, put a carpet on top of the barbed wire, and jump over that fence. You know, these are like legit directions that the race organizers are giving you.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So how obviously like your sprinter van, your crew can't go out in the desert. So like you just have to plan like, okay, I guess meet me over here around this time.
So I think every time I'll have one guy come out with me
Okay.
to make sure I'm safe. I think there's like some Garmin, I forget what it's called, if it's a Garmin Instinct or something.
The InReach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like it's walkie-talkie no matter how much cell reception.
Yeah.
So that's going to be huge for me. And then just having these checkpoints.
Dang. I feel like this is just if you're inexperienced, like you've never done anything like this before,
It could mess you up.
I bet it's like a recipe for chaos. Because it's just like, I could so easily, like seeing some people's crews, even at like a well-crewed like a very well-supported race, it's like some people, their crews are so inexperienced, like they have no clue what they're doing. And they're just like trying to help. But something like that where there's no route and you're just like trying to wing it the whole time.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot could go wrong.
Yeah. Like usually you see people like getting their shoes changed for them, giving them massages and all
Yeah.
that. Like I don't have enough crew for that.
Yeah.
Like, I got to take care of myself, and they got to just make sure we're heading the right way
Yeah.
and got enough food.
It sounds like you have a pretty experienced crew though. Like,
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
Yeah.
Damn. That's wild, man. So you're allowed to have like GPS and maps and use whatever you need to get to get there.
So it's no rules. You could do whatever you want. There's one unwritten rule, which is don't run on the interstate highway.
Oh, so you're not even allowed to if you wanted to.
On the highway, no, it's so dangerous.
Oh, just because of like safety reasons.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That makes sense.
So easy to get arrested. So easy to
Yeah.
get hit by a car. And like, let's say that the car behind you is like trailing you, like the crew car is trailing the runner, so they can have an open lane basically. Like,
Yeah.
that car's gonna get rear-ended.
Yeah, especially going through mountains and turns and all that. That makes sense. That probably makes it even more harder because that's like
It's the main path.
That's the most direct path.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man. Are you nervous for this at all?
No,
No.
not yet. I usually get nervous like a week out,
Yeah.
a couple days before, maybe on the flight there.
Yeah. What do you think is going to be the hardest part?
Maybe the nights. Like usually when the sun rises, it's like amazing.
Yeah.
But at the nights, energies get low. People get more tired. It's easy to want to give up.
Yeah.
So yeah, just making it through every night.
And you want to finish it in 5 days?
Yeah, that's my goal right now.
Damn. Dude. Is there going to be a way to like follow along and like track it all?
Yeah, I'm gonna figure out. Well, I'm obviously gonna be posting on my Instagram like 24/7 as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I'm currently trying to build like some type of website where it's like you could see me like blinking on a map and like
Oh, that'd be cool.
how many steps have I taken, how many kilometers away am I from Las Vegas, just like some like cool interactive website where I can also like put like blogs and videos and
Heck yeah. Dude, I'm excited to follow along.
yes sir.
What a wild concept. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, and don't be scared if you sleep through it. I'm probably still running.
Yeah, dude, that's when I was following like Pierce doing the 200s and there's like the Cocodona 250. Like I like tracking people for those, and I'll go to sleep. I get like a full 8 hours. I'm just here at home, and I'll wake up and it's like, oh, they ran 30 miles last night while I was sleeping.
Yeah.
And then I go through my whole work day. I'm like doing stuff, working out, going on a little run. I go to bed the next night. I wake up the third day, and they're still running.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, third place took
oh
second
my
place.
God, dude, it's so long to just be out there moving, and it's these races are so wild.
Yeah.
Where do you think you'll go after the speed project? Like, I don't know. How do you top that?
I don't know, but for sure I want to do something longer. Like if I do the whole distance, like the next thing is like, okay, how much more can I do?
Yeah.
And that's really where I think my whole life is gonna get to, or maybe one day I just need to run across the world.
Yeah. You see that guy that's running the length of Africa right now?
Yeah, I saw that.
He's been going for like 200 some days or something.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
he's looking fresh too.
Yeah, he's probably not going super fast. I don't think you could
can't,
because
you
it's.
can't.
I don't know how many miles that is, but thousands of miles. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I've always thought it'd be cool for somebody to run from, I think you could do this, the bottom of, I think, Argentina or Chile, whatever like the lowest, most southern point is, all the way up to like whatever the highest point in Canada is, or the most northern point.
Yeah.
I think you could run that theoretically, right? Like the Panama Canal, you could, like I'm assuming there's a way to get across that, and then through Mexico, Canada.
Worst case, you just hop on a boat and you're doing laps on the boat.
Yeah. I've always thought that'd be interesting. Well, I'm excited to see what you do after this thing.
Yes, sir.
Dude. Last question. If somebody is like in where you're, let me ask that again. If somebody is in your shoes, no, that's not the right. If somebody right now is where you used to be, like pre-2020, before you got into running, what piece of advice would you have for them if they wanted to maybe not run the 350-mile race like you're about to do, but just get to the point where, like, going and running a half marathon or a marathon or a 50K or 50 mile, to get to the point where that isn't so daunting?
Yeah. I would say there's 3 things you got to do. Want to do it. You need to have a serious want. Run slow. And foam roll.
Foam roll. Okay, so have the want. That's okay. That makes sense.
That's huge. That's the biggest thing. It's the most important.
Yeah, and run slow. That just promotes the longevity.
Yeah.
That allows you to keep coming back, right?
Yeah, or else you're going to get injured. You're going to be out of breath. You're going to lose motivation. So, like, everyone starting off, I'm out. Like, the first thing, I don't even see their stats yet. I'm like, okay, you got to run slower. First thing.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's heart rate's, like, jacked up way too high.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I used to do. So you used to do. And then foam roll.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I don't ever foam roll.
What?
I never.
That's crazy. But you're strength training, which gets in your muscles and, like, longer, and you're tearing them.
Do you foam roll every day?
Yes.
Every day?
Yeah.
Did you bring one with you on this trip?
I brought a mini lacrosse ball, so I'm able to get that myofascial release.
Okay. What do you feel like that does the most for you? Like
just releases muscle tension.
Yeah.
If I have like something super tight, I'll just like find the tightest point. Let's say it's like on my quad. So I find the tightest point on my quad, and then I'm bringing my quad through its entire range of motion to really loosen it up, and just like kind of have the muscle more relaxed, more lengthened.
That makes sense. One
thing we didn't mention is like we're both like running coaches and we're both coaching athletes.
Yeah.
At this time, so all this advice is coming from somewhere good.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if you ever get asked this, but people ask me sometimes like, "Where'd you get your coaching certificate or your coaching license?" I'm like, I don't fucking have one.
Yeah.
Like all my thousands of miles I've ran is my certificate, and I think I would so much rather learn and be coached by somebody who has done the thing that I'm trying to do. Like the coach I'm working with for my like deadlift right now. He has like a 900-pound deadlift, like insane. I've never asked him if he had a coaching certificate. I don't care. I just know that he's done this thing. He knows how to get there because he started probably from where I was at right now. So yeah. How long have you been coaching people for?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
How many people do you work with?
At a maximum, like 40. And right now it's a lot smaller. It's more around 10, 15
It's
area.
off season right now.
Yeah. In Canada, there's so much snow, it's hard to run.
Yeah. It's all remote, or do you have in person too?
I usually keep 2 spots open for in-person clients. And this is like, if you're one of my in-person athletes, like, you're getting everything from me. It's like, you're basically living with me. Like, we're running together. I'm doing massage, cupping, gua sha, stretching, like really.
You do all that? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm certified for all that. I'm also certified for a couple run coaching certifications, but the miles matter more.
Yeah.
And then everything in between: mobility plan, strength plan, nutrition plan, race day plan, gear guide, like literally everything you need.
Yeah. Dang. That's so comprehensive.
Yeah.
I didn't know you did all that. Did you go to school for like cupping and all these different things?
Yeah. In Quebec, it was pretty easy. It took me a year to get like the base amount of hours, and then you start getting to do specializations. So I did like the things that interest me: sports massage, cupping, gua sha, like lymphatic therapy.
Damn. Do you do a lot of that to yourself too?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I'm cut. Like I almost always have cut marks on my legs.
Really? I've never done cupping.
Oh, you got to try.
I gotta give it a shot.
Yeah.
What is it? Just like helps with blood flow, basically.
Yeah. So it's the exact opposite of deep tissue massage. Where like deep tissue, you're getting in there, you're breaking up all the muscle fibers. But cupping, what it does is it tricks your brain. So like you get a cup, let's say on your quads, and you suck up all the current blood that's there, and it's all inside this cup. Your skin turns purple and it's like making a little bruise. And then your brain's like, oh, my quad has no blood flow. Let me send more blood. So now you have double the amount of blood flow. You release the cup, it all comes rushing through. Like I'll usually like spread the blood manually. And then you have twice the amount of blood flow, which just, helps recovery, helps getting stronger, helps just making your muscles feel better, able to get like back to 100% faster.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm starting to learn more and more that recovery is just as important as training. Like, because you can only train based on your recovery status, basically. And so the more you can recover, the faster you can recover, the more you can train. Interesting. So you said cupping, foam rolling. What else? What do you personally do for recovery?
So I see a fascia stretch therapist, which I like to describe as lazy yoga. So this guy is putting me in the craziest positions, which is basically like yoga positions, except I'm allowed to be at complete relaxation at all times. Where if I want to do like a certain position to stretch my lower back or stretch my hips, other muscles need to be engaged. But doing fascia stretch therapy, like I'm completely relaxed, getting everything stretched for me. And that feels euphoric. First of all, like a deep hip stretch, feel like your emotions get released. And then, tons of foam rolling, lacrosse ball, which is just like deeper penetration, myofascial release. Mobility, strength training helps with recovery, and a lot of easy miles.
Do you do
active recovery? Cycling's huge.
Cycling. I don't do enough of that. I have like a setup downstairs, but I never use it. How do you implement cycling? Just like a little like 30, 45 minute spin out or something?
Yeah. So when it's summer, I kind of do it the same way as running, where it's like that'll be part of my commute. Cycling's so amazing because it's using the exact same muscle groups as it is for running, but with zero impact. Right. So you're getting blood flow, you're getting the muscles moving. Motion is lotion. Yeah. And but with zero impact, so your ankles and your knees are happy. Right. And then now, just 30, 45 minutes, zone 2. If I want to get like a high heart rate, I'll do that instead of doing sprints or hill repeats, especially when it's icy outside.
Dang. Dude, so you're just doing all kinds of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And do you work like a regular job, quote unquote?
No, not at all. So primarily I'm working for myself as a run coach. And then I'm also at B52, which is a luxury gym in Montreal where I host a run club, I do a stretch class, and that's where I take all my recovery clients. So like I'm using their space, and then all people who are part of the gym or just anyone in the public, they get to book me through that.
Oh, cool.
But it's amazing, dude. I get to choose my own hours. I get to choose when I'm working. I've been in the States for 2 weeks. No one's getting mad at me.
That's so great. What did you do before you did the run coaching and before you had like this much freedom?
I was in real estate management, studying that and working in like events and working at like bars and clubs and stuff. And that just sends you down a dark path. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like you're too passionate about that.
No.
I mean, some people might be, but I feel like that's a hard thing to just love, is doing stuff like that. Yeah. Some people might, but working for yourself and having that freedom.
It's the best thing in the world.
To just go and, you don't have to ask for permission to go on vacation or to go for a run at 2:00 in the afternoon. Like you can just go do it.
Yeah. And how hard I work directly affects how much money I make.
Yep.
Which is just, it's so motivating.
Yep. Yeah. I think running taught me that, obviously. I'm sure you could say the same thing, but being self-employed, it's just a direct correlation to the work versus the reward.
Yeah.
And it's, some days are harder than others for sure. It can be stressful, definitely. But, it's so much more fulfilling to be able to work for yourself and build something for yourself. And I feel like you have a much bigger impact when you own your own business too. Like, just more impact on the world. I feel like that's my experience at least. Cause I've had like 9-to-5 jobs and stuff, and you always just kind of feel like a cog in the machine. Like you're just kind of there to like make sure it keeps moving. But like somebody could so easily come in and replace you.
Yeah.
But when you're doing your own thing, like you're coaching clients, you're like making content, you're doing so much more, you have such a bigger impact, I feel like. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, this is fun, man.
This is amazing.
Thanks for coming on the pod.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, we learned all about Nik. How do you say your last name, by the way?
My full name is Nik Golymbiowsky.
Golymbiowsky.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay. Now I can see why you just go by Nik most of the time.
Nik, Run Nik.
That's a Ukrainian last name?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I like that. Did anybody in your family play hockey?
Nope.
Dang.
Not that I know of.
If you're from Canada and Ukrainian ancestors, damn. Well, maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Instagram, 100%. Run Nik 100km.
Run Nik 100km. Beautiful, dude. Well, good luck with training for the speed project. I'm definitely gonna be following along. I'm stoked to see it. Stoked to see you crush it, and very excited to see what we end up doing after all this too.
I'm excited too.
Dude, let's go cold plunge.
Let's do it.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a review, and share it with a friend. We'll see you in the next one.